I want to briefly talk about this YouTube channel that I watch called XJW Critical Thinker. And it's run by a brother named JT. He has the channel with his wife. And as the name suggests, he is an ex-Jehovah's Witness. And many of you, if you're not one or have been one, you're very familiar. The Jehovah's Witnesses are the people that will come and they will knock on your door and they will give you pamphlets and they will talk to you about Jehovah. People consider them to be, very much annoying. But one of the things that a lot of people don't probably realize is that Jehovah's Witnesses have about a 30% African American base in America, which means that if you look at as an organization, a lot of their membership is black. And there's a lot of integration in between races in the JW religion. However, only one of the 12 main leaders is black. And I think like up until about 10 or 15 years ago, their governing body, which 12 disciples or 12 leaders, was all white. Now, they've always had a strong black leadership or support in this organization. And Brother JT was talking about this in this particular video, which is called Jehovah's Witnesses and the Black Man. Now, why was this particular video important? JT talks about, with his buddy, about being an elder. Now, an elder is what is similar to being a reverend or being a pastor or a person with ministerial duties and responsibilities over a particular body of members, congregation. They would sometimes have these elder meetings. I don't know if it was like a district meeting or stuff like that. And of course, there would be these laws that the main people would be trying to, tell the other elders how to implement them. And there would be some gray areas in interpreting these particular policies. So they would get together and they would try to have the elders, both black, white, of all races, but they were trying to get the elders to come together and interpret these particular laws and positions and put them into effect, kind of trickling down from the leadership down. And in these meetings, there were black elders, a lot of black elders. But the only elders that would speak in these meetings were white. Now, some of you probably going to sit here and say that that's racist and they're running a racist organization. But, well, see, the thing about it is, according to JT, it's not that the blacks couldn't speak because they had every right as an elder to talk. They chose not to talk. And the only guys who challenged information were the white elders. Now, the white elders felt it was their responsibility to challenge information, but the blacks were just there going along to get along. And their theory was, I'm not going to mess up my position. If the white guys say it's good for me, hell is good enough for me too. You see. I'm just glad to be here. I'll take whatever you tell me to do instead of me thinking for myself what to do. Now, this don't sound regular, right? No, but if you think about it, why is the brother feeling like this in this meeting? Well, because when the white guy speaks, he's being vigilant. He's being a trailblazer. He's being bright. He's being a leader. But see, the black man knows that if he's challenging stuff, he's being obnoxious. He's being a troublemaker. And he's the person that's the angry black man. And I know that some of you that's work jobs, you've been in particular meetings, people have asked you to say positions, how you felt, what you think people could do or what they should do. They've asked you, not under being racist, but you have said nothing. for the fact that you just want to go along to get along. I'm guilty of that too. Because I look around the room and I know, man, I'm the only black person in the room. Everybody else know I'm the only black person in the room. Let me just shut up. I don't want them to associate me with being like somebody else. And let me break this down, because especially in work environments, we have our white guy voice on. Hello, how you doing? You know, we are always subconsciously trying to prove to people, and this has happened in the past, I'm not like the other blacks that you know. Whether we know that we do this, sometimes we do that, but we're weird. I'm different. I speak different. I don't live like, I don't do those things. And so the last thing that I want you to think that I am is ghetto or causing trouble. So I'll be quiet. And I'm not going to challenge anything, because I want to be a good employee and I want to be somebody who can work well with others. Especially being a black man. Because you know, if you do something, a lot of times the way you feel, it's going to be taken out of context. People are already watching you, and you're trying to lay under the radar. However, such things come with a consequence. Because people who go along to get along don't get nowhere. They don't get far. Let me just, talk about revolutions and talk about people who actually gain things over time. If black people in America, all of us, went along to get along to a certain degree, we would still be in the cotton field. In order to get someplace, you have to challenge things. Unfortunately, if it make you uncomfortable, or if it make other folk get uncomfortable, because once you start to become a doormat for folk, and people can walk over you, and people sense fear, you're done. As a brother, you're done. And if you think that going along to get along is going to be a long-term strategy, brother, you're in a world of hurt. Because it's damn if you do, damn if you don't. So if you're going to get somewhere, something has to be heard. And you got to stand up for yourself. Even if that means you are going to be labeled the angry brother. That's just if you want to stay there. If you want to climb the ranks. Because what will happen, and I'm going to talk about, and a lot of you people know this, my mama was like that. And I know, obviously we're talking about black men, but my mom was she used to work for a big time company back in the day. I won't call the name. But she was a great employee, went along to get along. Now, this didn't happen much in the 90s, but in the 80s, it was very popular for them to have black managers and them to bring in white young people straight out of college. And the black managers that's been there for 20, 30 years, they will have those black managers train those white people so that those people can take their jobs and then they become their boss. And that is exactly what happened to everybody who went along to get along. They went along with all the company changes, didn't want to cause no trouble, and didn't gain anything. Because they didn't stand on the principle. And they took whatever was given to them and people didn't respect them. And that is exactly what happened. So, what I will say about that is, listen, brother, if you have done so much in your life already, don't worry about being considered angry. Don't worry about what people are going to think about you. If you are being wronged in any kind of way, stand up for yourself. If you feel something is not right, stand up for yourself. And if people try to play you, lawsuit. Everybody else do it. Every other group would do it. Every other group don't have no problem speaking up for their damn self. Why can't you? Now, if you want to be an idiot and be a fool and sit there all day and become an idiot, then you can do that. Be my guest. But if you want to get anywhere, you're going to have to stand up for yourself and you're going to have to fight for yourself, whether that's in corporate America, whether that's on the job, whether you contracting, anything that you're doing, and if you feel something is going wrong, you got to fight for yourself and you got to stand up and let people know they can't walk over you. Because people who go along to get along don't get very far. So anyways, but I want to thank you guys for supporting. Make sure that you guys subscribe, hit the bell. What do you think, man? Have you ever been, hit with the angry black man syndrome at the workplace? Subscribe, hit the bell. Make sure you support us on Patreon. Shout out to all the people who's holding us down. Patreon.com/Negro Manosphere. I really, really appreciate you supporting Black Man Media. $5 a month. You know how we do. And as you know, the buffoonery, man, at an all-time high. I'm out.